Uh, where's Isaac? All right, what we will do in our Proverbs, you'll read a verse and I'll explain it. You'll read a verse, I'll explain it. We'll discuss it. You'll read a verse, 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 as far as we're going. So I'll call you out to read some verses. Proverbs chapter 2. Verse 1. Again, what we should know is who wrote the book of Proverbs? Solomon? Where did the Proverbs come from? So, Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs, but where's the information coming from? So, who say God? Say God? All right. Who was his mother? Bathsheba. How did his mother and daddy get together? Through adultery. All right? Bathsheba was on the housetop taking a bath. David saw her, got her brought in, got her pregnant. She had a baby, then she killed her husband, and then David married her. Everybody thought David was a hero, but they didn't realize what David had done. He tells who wrote this, and the reason Solomon is writing this because in those days, and a lot of time, it was inappropriate for a woman to have ladders of books or information because she was supposed to be a receptacle of information and not one that gives out information. But Solomon took the wisdom that his mama gave him and wrote it in a book for her. So it's called the Proverbs of Solomon, but in fact, it's the teaching that his mother gave him as a little boy coming up. So Proverbs 31 and 1, look at Proverbs 31 and 1. At the end, now, he waits until the end of the book to give. Now, this is why I want you to see this. How many of y'all been to college before? How many of y'all ever read a book before? At the end of that book, you have the credits that are there. It tells who wrote the book and all this. That's why Solomon waited until the very end of the book to give credit to who the book belonged to. So if you want to know who any book of the Bible belonged to, the credits are there. They're in the back of the Bible, back of that chapter. We'll show you that. All right, look at 31 and 1. Read. The words of King Lemuel. So what is Solomon's name? Lemuel. So he has two names. He has a secular name and he has a Hebrew name. Lemuel. Read. So who's the critics at the end of this book? Who does this go to? His mother. So it's the Proverbs of Solomon, but it's his mother. Probably not saying she could. His mother probably couldn't write. It wasn't proper for women to be able to read and write at that time. So she might have not been able to write because most of their time was used they learned how to be homemakers versus being business women. And really today, that's a problem because even today, women should have their major focus on being wives and mothers from the very beginning. But because in a lot of places, black men don't take responsibility, black women don't know how to be wives and mothers. A lot of them don't know. I said don't have them learn because they had to spend time to be educators and all that kind of stuff because men ain't able to carry the whole load so they can be wives and mothers. So a lot of our children are going like him because a woman's primary focus should be able to be a wife and a mother. But when you got a man that's not equivalent to take care of her, she can't do that because she has to help him with the bills. That's why you shouldn't marry nobody that can't take care of you and a kid if you plan on being a mother and a wife. He needs to be able to take care of you and a kid and some children. So, because your whole focus should be staying in the house. That's a woman's primary job, to stay in the house, raise her children, and to be a mother. That should be your whole focus. But because we got men now that are lazy and can't foot the whole bill of marriage and taking care of a child, if they can't do that, you're not ready to be a fully wife and husband, because your full employment should be to be a wife and a mother, and to be paid for that by him. Y'all look, it's funny. Go to 1 Timothy chapter 5. 1 Timothy 5. But guess what? Most of you ain't going to do it. You know why most of them ain't going to do it? Because most of them are going to be so hot-tailed. Most of them are going to be so ready to get married until, that's why I know when y'all looking at looks and like looks and shapes and size, and that's the thing you focus on, that's why I know you're not looking at the right thing. You need to be looking at books instead of looks. Looks are good, but you ought to be able to take care. See, this is what 1 Timothy chapter 5 and 14 says. Look at 5 and 14, 1 Timothy 5 and 14, what it says. I would therefore that young women marry, and this is what I want them to do: marry, have children, and keep the house. That's what I want her to do. That's her focus. Bear children and guide the house. But now, most women today, they have become career women. They're career, and they got to be career, because there's very few men that can take care of that responsibility. Now, I'm saying if you want to be a wife and a mother completely, then you got to make sure that whoever you marry can be able to take care of you and the children, so you won't have to do that. So most women today, they're part-time mothers and part-time wives. But men want a full-time, but in order to maintain a man, you got to have a full-time wife and a full-time mother. But now we got part-time wives who work 8 hours a day being a wife. So a full-time wife needs to be able to cook, she needs to be able to clean, she needs to be able to take care of the children, she needs to be able to cook fresh vegetables and all that stuff there. So most women today are not full-time wives and full-time mothers because they don't have a husband that can afford them to be that. That makes sense? So all of the instruction that Solomon is getting, he's telling you where he's getting this from. Now, I want to show you that all the credits are always at the end of the book. Go to 1 Timothy. If you got a Thompson chain, after verse 22, see after verse 22, it should say something like, the second epistle to Timothy ordained, the first bishop of the church of Ephesus, written from Rome when Paul was brought before Nero the second time. Y'all see that in your Thompson chain? How many of y'all Bibles have that? Yours got it. 1 Timothy. See right there. See at the bottom? That's kind of like the credits. Did y'all see that? All right, now go to Proverbs 2 and 1. Proverbs 2 and 1. Right? All right. Read Proverbs 2 and 1 for me. Start with you. Right? Okay, so we're at verse 1. Let's read verse 1 together. Okay, read it again. This is not Solomon talking. This is his mother saying, my son. Most people look at this as Solomon talking. This is Solomon writing about what his mother said. So the Proverbs of Solomon are really the Proverbs of who? his mother that she gave to him, but they become his proverbs because he keeps them. My son, if thou wilt receive my word. Now, there's one thing to hear the words, but there's another thing to receive the words. I talk to a lot of you all, and I talk to a lot of people, and they hear what I'm saying. But to receive them, to mean to accept them as truth, and to accept them as things to live by. I talk to so many young people who hear what I'm saying and hear what I'm saying, and I go back and ask them, are they applying it? They're not applying it. Wisdom only is beneficial is when you apply the information that you get. Most of y'all done heard a whole lot of stuff, but you can do totally different than what you hear, and you don't get the results. That's why I say don't be just a what? Hearer, but a what? A doer. So, son, receive my words, and hide my commandments with thee. Receive them, hide them. I mean, you put them in your heart, they are there, that you cherish them. When you hide something, it's valuable. You hide the information. Put the information within yourself. Contain it within yourself. Protect that information. Protect what you've been taught. All right? Verse number 2. Anybody. I'm just so that different people will get it. All right, read. So what is that? Applying your ear to wisdom. When you are, and I want y'all to get this, there's a time to receive and a time to speak what he said. At your age, when you're in the presence of people who are older than you, you should shut up. Too many young people around, they talk so much, they want to talk so much. When you're around me and others, shut up, open your ear. I want to hear what you know. You may know something, but you're not there to give me information. You're there to hear. When I get around older people, I'm not there to open my mouth. I want to take that time to listen, to hear. Oh, did you know something? No. I want to hear. So he said, when you hear older people talking, incline your ear to hear. Just be quiet. Let me hear what they're saying. Let me get the concept of what they're saying. Because there's a time to receive information, there's a time to give information. See, you live by what you hear. We got a generation now that is smart by education. And education is one thing. Now, you may be more educated than me and educated than others, but you don't live by education, you live by wisdom. Now, there's a lot of people who are educated, but they don't have any wisdom. Education you get out of books, but wisdom teach you how to apply that education. Y'all follow me? So he said, I want you to incline your ear, and there's somebody get verse 3. Say, I want you to cry after knowledge. What do you mean cry after knowledge? Somebody tell me what that means, cry after knowledge. That's good to seek it, but what else? To cry after knowledge. He want to give us a comparison. As a child, you ever have anybody that you really love? Like your mama or your father or whatever, and they had to go to work or go somewhere, and when they left, you cried. You was crying after them. So you should cry after knowledge. So you see somebody with knowledge coming your way, like a pastor, a leader, hey, you should be following them. Hey, pastor, what you doing today? Where you going today? Hey, or you see that knowledge go, oh, hey, cry after knowledge, holler for knowledge. Hey, you got time to sit down and talk to me a minute? Hey, can you give me some information? Can I ask you something? Cry after knowledge. Don't wait for somebody to come to you and give it to you. You know you need it. Hey, can you help me with this? Can you give me understanding of this? I'm trying to be a wife. I'm trying to be successful in business. Cry, hey, you got a minute? Cry after knowledge. That's what his mother taught him. Seek for knowledge. Incline your ear, seek for knowledge. At what verse you on? And lift up thy voice for understanding. That's also crying for understanding. Hey, can somebody help me? Now, verse 4, I want to see, let's read verse 4 together. Every 4 verses we'll read together. What does verse 4 say? Read. If thou seekest for her, who is her? That's wisdom. Seek for her. So wisdom is a what? And who's teaching? Who's talking to her son? So now you see what he called wisdom, or her. You see he called understanding, or her. All of these he calls women, her. If thou will seek her as what? And search her as for. So what is Solomon saying? Let's talk about that. What is that verse saying? Tell me somebody tell me exactly what he's saying there. Okay, that's good, but it's saying something really deep he's saying. Seek her. Seek, huh? Something he's saying deeper than that. Seek her as what? What Solomon is saying is this. Don't seek money. Don't seek, because silver was what they used. Don't seek that. Because if you get money, you don't know how to get money again. Seek what brings money. Because if you seek money, once you spend out of money, you're going to have to look for more money. But if you seek the wisdom that brings money, then I won't have to seek money. I seek the wisdom, and the wisdom brings money. Do I want money or a restaurant? Do I want money or do I want a business? Because if I get money and spend it and don't know how to get it again, I'm in trouble. So he said, I want you to seek wisdom and knowledge, because what brings money? Y'all with me? Do you want a Coke or you want a Coke machine? All right, go get me quickly. I want you to look at this. Go to the book of Matthew 6 and 33. Matthew 6 and 33. All right, everybody get it? Matthew 6 and 33. All right, what does it say? But seek first the what? Seek first what? Uh-huh. And his righteousness and what? All these what? So when you seek kingdom, what comes? Can anybody think of where Solomon got this kind of idea about seeking wisdom first and then you'll get money? Where did this apply to him? What did he use this? Gina got it. When was it, Gina?
When he asked God for wisdom over the nation, and God gave him.
Who taught him how to answer that? Ask for that.
Was it his mom?
His mother. So when he came and the Lord appeared to him in a vision, go to 2 Chronicles. 1 Kings 3 and 1. Second Kings 3 and 1. All right. Janae, read that for me. 1 Kings 3 and 1. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. The Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night. Ask what I shall give you. You showed me great mercy. Yes. 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 Where did he get that mindset to even ask for that? His mother. She taught him the value of knowledge and wisdom. And I think this is something that I want y'all to get. Education isn't wisdom. That's not wisdom. Going to school don't give you wisdom. They give you education. And he said you should treat wisdom like a treasure. Treat wisdom like silver. Treat wisdom like your money. You should value this knowledge that you're getting today. You should value the information that you're getting. Hide it just like you're having your money hid. Hide it just like you got your pocketbook. You got a secret place of it. That's why when I watch young people that don't come to Sunday school, don't come to meetings, don't come listen, don't come here, are not attending with service coming on, you have people that haven't taught you the value of wisdom. Or when somebody's talking to you and giving you information and you sucking your teeth, oh, I wish they would hurry up. Somebody haven't taught you the value. Because every time you hear me talking and speaking, I'm giving you gold. I'm giving you silver. I'm giving you knowledge. I'm giving you things that's going to help you be productive and prosperous. But people value money. So if I said today that everybody that came to Sunday school, I'm going to give them $1 million, everybody would be here. And we got quite a few here, but I'm just using that analogy. But if somebody says, hey, I'm giving wisdom, I'm giving knowledge, which gets you those things, they don't understand it. I was born in a very poor situation. I didn't get where I've got from money. I got it from wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Solomon's mother have taught him how to value. Young people today don't value wisdom. They don't value knowledge. They don't value understanding. They don't value lectures. They don't value sitting down talking. They value education, but not wisdom. What the old have to say, what the wise have to say. Are y'all with me? Yes, sir. Well, you can get knowledge, understanding is how to apply that knowledge, how to make it applicable. And you understand it by just sitting down. Who taught this boy what? Hey, let me see your hand, son. Point to your nose. Point to your mouth. Point to your ear. Point to your eye. Where's your daddy? Right? What kind of head your daddy got? He got hair on his head? Your dad got hair? Well, this boy been taught faith. He got faith in it. But the point that I'm saying, he learned this. Can you spell hair? Can you spell cat? Okay. What did he learn that vocabulary? He just sat down and been around the presence of people that talking about. You get it? You got to stay in the presence of wisdom, in the presence of information. You got to stay in the presence of information. See, young people think today because they go to school that's going to make them successful. But it's wisdom. You got to sit in the school of wisdom. Sit where the age of talking, where wisdom is going forth. That's what Solomon is saying. So when God comes to Solomon and asks Solomon what you want, his mother has taught him how to value wisdom over money. Wisdom over his own anger, because his anger could have been kill somebody. So his mother have taught him all his life, wisdom is the most important thing that you got. Understanding is the most important thing you got. And where did that work? When God came to him and asked him for it, he asked for wisdom, and God said, because you asked for wisdom, I'm going to give you money and wealth and all the things that you didn't ask for. Because somebody taught him how to value wisdom. Somebody taught him how to value information. That makes sense? All right? Any other questions or comments? Let's do a little dialoguing on that. Anybody have a question or comment on that? Yes.
I kind of get a little defensive when sometimes they come, and sometimes their approach is like harsh because it's just like.
See, he's not talking about a school. That somebody just come to you and sit down, and you're right, just bashing you and tell, oh, young people. That ain't what he's talking about. He's talking about being in the presence of those people listening, and when you're there, I'm just listening, I'm just hearing, I'm watching how they operate, watching how they do things, watch how they move, watch, and learning from presence, learning from being there. And you're right, not a bashing session, but just learning. Most of us haven't had wisdom poured into us. You can go to school, not get your major, go to school, not get your money, go to school, not succeed because you're down. See, you don't value a lot of time, the time that you have. Sitting with me an hour is more valuable than you sitting in your college 5 hours. Just sit with me. Just ride. Just talk. I can help y'all be successful and make it. Just listen. You ain't got to do nothing but listen. Just ride. Watch how I'm handling business on the phone sometimes. Watch how I'm communicating with people. Sometimes I sit down and I just throw some nuggets out and just talk about them. That's why when folk ride with me, a lot of times, those that ride, I don't want a whole lot of talking. I just want you to listen, be observed, just to be in the presence of it. Learn. I use Vlad and I talk about him a lot. But Vlad barely talk. I've been with Vlad since he was in his, 20s, early 20s. And I have probably not said, I might have said maybe 10,000 words, 5,000 words. You talk about words. You know, we don't talk a lot. We really add up a lot of words. Maybe the communication you had might have been 20, 30, 40,000 words. Not a whole lot of words. I don't know if we had that many words together. Hey, Vlad, how you all right, son? Talk to you real quick. Really, you think about how many words we spend with each other. How many times we talk about it. How many words that me and you, Christian, have really had? And in 10, 15 years, there ain't been like 100,000 words. That's not a whole lot of words. You don't really think about that. Now, we haven't talked much, but this young man eat every word I'm saying up. Eat it up. He ain't a talker, he's a listener, and then he will apply it, and then I can rebuke him and chastise him without getting upset, and he go back and change that behavior. That's the relationship we have. We got it. Vlad has been successful. When the last time you worked on a job for somebody? 2020, right? How many properties have you owned and sold? What's the difference between the information I gave him and the information I gave everybody else? What's the difference? Ain't no different than the information I gave him and the information I gave everybody else. Just application. How many times have I called you and rebuked you and corrected you or different things like that? A lot. But it ain't distant us. Because you're going to go back and go apply the same thing, ask questions, talk about it. It's application. So he said, take that. Now, the money that he done got And the thing that he done gained, I ain't give him no money. I gave him wisdom. He went and got his own money from the wisdom I gave him. What would you rather me give you, money or the information that I gave you? The information. I get the information, you go get your own money, but you got to apply it. Wife owned a beauty parlor, went and brought it, sold it. House, land, property. Now he's done enough that I look at him now and I can get information from him because he took the information I gave him and added to it. And I don't have time to get on and say, because he's supposed to be setting me up on some stock. So Vlad, get this, do this, set this up for me. Ain't no difference between you. And I hear people sometimes they make an excuse about where they are and what they are. The same opportunity is available to him is available to you, but you got to apply the information. Then when other people start succeeding, they start growing, they start developing, sometimes people start getting attitudes with God and attitude with life and other times with that. Why ain't this, why ain't that? It's all about application. Yes, ma'am.
Go to apply for a job, for example. You may have the degrees, but they look at experiences more than the degree most times. They wouldn't hire you because you're overqualified as far as the education-wise, but you don't have any experience.
So they want somebody with some wisdom. All right, praise the Lord. Sister Shambria.
When you were talking, it made me think about Proverbs 9 and 10. So when you were saying that the Lord blessed Solomon because he asked for wisdom, was it also because he knew that in order for him to, get wisdom, he was going to have to fear the Lord?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. Fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All right? So let's go what verse we're on now. 5. Let's read 5. Let's see. Liz, read 5 for me. All right. Liz is going to read 5. I'm enjoying this. Everybody together with it? Verse 5. All right, read. Then not just get the fear of the Lord, but I want you to understand the fear of the Lord. You see, I think that's a big problem, is that people today don't understand the fear of the Lord and what the fear of the Lord does. And because we don't fear the Lord, we make decisions that get us in trouble. Fear is a protection. Now, when we look at different fears, we say the perfect love casts out fear, but it's not talking about all fear. In fact, there's a fear that is a protection to us. That fear keeps us from killing ourselves. If a car is running down the road at a certain degree, I fear going that road, and that fear keeps me from doing it. The fear of the Lord protects us from certain things. For instance, if there's AIDS out there, the fear of the Lord, the fact that the fear of the Lord says I shouldn't have sex and I'm not married, it protects me from AIDS because I fear the Lord. That protects me. The Lord said don't steal. So me not robbing a bank, obeying God, don't steal, that protects me from being killed by robbery. So the fear of the Lord keeps us. So God put all these different things in us for us to fear, to keep us away from danger. That's why when your parents whip you, they whip you to put fear in you so that you won't do the thing that's going to hurt yourself. So now I whip you to make you fear that if you touch the stove, you're going to get hit, to keep you away from that. When you have people, when you don't have nobody in your life that whip your behind and tear you up and make you feel certain things, or no pastor that you respect or fear, then you do whatever you want to do. And it ends up killing you. So you got to have people that you fear, and that fear brings that protection. And the fear of God, to understand why we fear God and certain things that God says. Everything that God tells us not to do is for our own protection. It's for our own. Yes, ma'am. Well, it's the reverence that brings that fear. So yes, it's not, I'm scared of God. But I'm fearful. I'm fearful of the judgment of God. I'm fearful of the punishment that comes with not obeying God. Not necessarily I'm scared of God, but if he says something, it's going to happen, and I'm fearing that punishment. But when you have people that don't understand, don't even regard, people are born without fear. This boy is born without fear, and he can be in the middle of fear. He could be in the middle of an alligator and go play with the alligator because he hasn't been taught fear. He's not afraid of a car, so he'll walk in front of a car that'll kill him because he don't have fear. That fear has to be taught to him. Son, don't run in front of a car. It'll kill you. Son, don't go in that lake. You'll drown. Kids will jump in water because they don't have no fear of what water can do to them. They'll jump in front of a car because they don't have no fear of what a car can do to them. So I need someone in my life to teach me the fear of God so I can protect myself. Your son is going to be protected now because when he got ready to go for a car, he said, oh, boy, that car killed you. Don't you ever walk in front of that car again. But people don't have nobody in their life that put the fear of God in them. Don't do that. This is going to happen. Don't do that. That'll happen. You follow me? That makes sense? All right. Let's go to this. Read. Out of his mouth coming what? All right. So, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask who? Let him ask who? So where does wisdom come from? And how do you get wisdom? I thought you can get wisdom from other people too. So you can get wisdom from people? But I thought it said, let him that ask wisdom ask of God, who give it to all men liberally, upbraided not. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. So where you get wisdom, how does wisdom come from God? If any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who give it to all men liberally, upbraided not. So we ask for wisdom from God. Get it from the priest. And age. So you ask for the priest, for the age. So when God say, let him ask of God, the wisdom of God is given to us through people. So we say, God, give me wisdom. And then somebody come in your life. Well, that is the wisdom that God gave you through somebody else. So when we say, God, give me wisdom, and then somebody say, hey, let me sit down and talk with you and give you information, that's the wisdom of God. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. It's a gift. First Corinthians 12:8. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom and the word of knowledge. So, if I ask for wisdom and God has given somebody the word of wisdom and the word of knowledge, then I need to find those people who God has given words of wisdom and words of knowledge. Are y'all with me? So when I ask God for wisdom, see who God put in my life. See who God placed there. Now this is important because now I want to talk about something important is building correlations, building leagues, building relationships. Now, this is what my focus is today. I've got down until I got to this particular verse because I want to talk about that because David was not as successful as Solomon. He wasn't as successful as Solomon in one particular project. What is that project? Building the temple. Why is that? Now, did the Lord not, and that's one of the concepts we have, did the Lord not want David to build it? Why did it say the Lord didn't want him to build it? Why? He had a bout of war, he had blood on his hand. David didn't have the funds. Well, let's talk about this. And we read this a lot, and this is the most of the concept. God didn't want David to build it because he had blood on his hand. But the point is, David couldn't build it Because David was so busy warring with everybody, he had killed so many people, that he always had to watch his body, was always in fight. So he didn't have no time to build a temple because even after he had killed so many people, he was a warrior. So because he's a warrior, every time, I done killed your family, I'm always under attack. But God said, men of war don't build, men of wisdom do. David had war, but he couldn't build. Solomon had wisdom. So a lot of your problem is you're always engaging in war and not wisdom. You need to learn how to be wise and not be warriors in everything. Warriors don't build. Wisdom builds. And let me get you so you can see this. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, 22 and 1. 1 Chronicles 22 and 1. Build relationships. This is how you become successful. Building relationships. Right? 22 and 1. So David got all the people prepared to build a house of God. He's ready to do it. He's ready to get it done. He done hired the people. This is how close he was to it. He's actually hired the people to do it and got the people to do the work. Got the stones and everything else. Read. He had iron. Uh-huh. So David prepared to build it. He got all of the stuff to build it. He was ready. Read. He called for Solomon, his son. Charge him. All right, son, you build a house for the Lord. I got all the stuff that you need to build. I think that's one of our problems too, is that our older generation ain't connected with our younger generation. David, the older, connected with his son, said, son, I made it easy for you to do this. Most of you all don't have it easy for you. Parents haven't prepared anything for you to build with. And I know most of you don't have that, parents-wise. That's why I'm building so many things here besides just the church. The doggone burger, the hotels, and all those things. And I want you got to get the vision of what I'm doing. Because most of you haven't had wealth that was inherited, given to you to build on. These businesses that I'm building is what your mothers and fathers should have had waiting on you. But you don't have that. So I'm building something for you. The park is for your children. The restaurant, the houses, that's for you. And then I get a whole generation that had nothing, who has somebody leaving them an inheritance and a legacy. So my mother died, now she left me something. Right now I was able to give the church a house, a barber shop, because she left something that I was able to give to them. Most of your parents now, you have nothing. And then you can't help the next generation. One generation is supposed to help another generation. Your parents are broke, you broke, then the next generation will be broke. I figure if I build this restaurant, build these hotels, you got something that you can say is yours, and y'all got to get out of yourselves and work and get involved and then get engaged, and don't see this as see, you all work independently. You work for yourself, but you're not working together to build something here. Why you can't take away from it. You got to put in it, give in it. I keep telling you, you got to see this now. Most churches not doing this. They're just building a church building. They're not trying to build nothing for an inheritance for the future. David built something. Solomon, Now, you just take what I got. Now, my question, what will your fathers leave you? What will your parents leave you? A good man leave an inheritance for his children's children. Wealth is supposed to be passed from generation to generation. That property my grandfather had is 100 years old. My mama was born in that house. So the house my mama got, I'm able to say the church owns it. The barber shop he cut in, and my memories are there. What you got that your grandparents had? What you possess? Nothing. I'm trying to start a generation that you can go back and say this is ours. But see, you don't understand generational wealth and passing things down, and you always you won't see. You'll be ahead the next generation. I'll leave you $1 million. You spend whatever you need, make some more for the next generation. Leave them a generation, make some more. That's why white people are successful. They can go on and on and on, always remain wealth, because all you're supposed to do is take a little bit of wealth for yourself to live by. When you die, pass it on to the next child. They take some out for themselves, add to it, add to the next. But no, most of y'all don't have that. Too lazy to understand it. Parents ain't leave nothing. They live in an apartment all their life. They can't leave you nothing. They ain't got no money to leave you. So everybody broke and broke and broke. To get wealth, you got to get wealth from generation to generation. Because the older my money is, if I got 100, if I start out with $1 million when I was 12 and I live to be 100, I done built you some money to pass on to the next one, to pass on to the next one, to pass on to the next one. David was rich. Solomon, I'm living. All you got to do is build a house. I already got it laid out for you because I'm thinking about the next generation. I'm thinking about the next generation. That's why I'm building this stuff. I could just build a church and go to church on Sundays and Wednesdays. I'm thinking about the next generation. Now, you got to do what you can to add to this so that the next generation won't be as broke as you are. And I figured you'd never get it out of your family and your house because they broke and they never recover out. But now, if we come together collectively at the church, we can build something for a future. That makes sense to y'all? So read that verse again, what it says. Solomon's son. I need to give you what my intentions were. Why do I constantly tell you about the vision, Isaac? Why do I constantly tell you about the vision, Vlad? Because I want y'all to know what I'm supposed to do. Because I may not be here to finish it. But you know what my plans are, and you complete my plans. And you pass that vision down to the next one, to the next one. Walt Disney World is because of Walt Disney. He gave that vision all the way down to where we are now, and they kept adding to that vision, and they're doing it. I don't want a bunch of sorry, broke, black, dope, selling, rapping young people. I'm giving you a vision that you get up and work, put labor in, add to it, build it, pass it to the next generation. They add to it and build it, pass it to the next generation. They add to it and build it, pass it to the next generation. Bishop Miles and Evangelist Clark left me with a church for this community, a 40 by 80 building, 3,200 square feet. That's what they left me. If I leave it a day, I'm not leaving that with you. Got a shelter over there, got 18,000 square feet here, a school over there, a house over there, over $20 million in property, 340 churches all over. I'm leaving something for the next generation. Ain't hogging it up like it's mine. Now, you got to jump on board and do and work for yourself. Don't live for the day, live for your children so you can make it easy for them. Where's scripture? A good man leaving an inheritance for his, get that scripture, for his children. Get that. Let's finish reading there. Mark, you read this.
But the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Thou hast shed blood abundantly, and hast made great wars.
So why, David? You shed blood abundantly and you've got great wars. So what's going to happen if David starts building the temple? Now what's going to happen? He's going to bring water to the temple. And what them people going to do? They're going to tear it down. He's going to keep out the building and tear it down because he got too many enemies. So it's not just a point, because there were many people that built for God with blood on their head. God is the one who told them to kill the people. But what God is saying, man, you got so many wars out there, you done fought with so many people, you can't build no temple because the minute you start building, they're going to be shooting you and killing you. All right, read. Yes. Yes. He going to be a man of what? You're a man of what? War, but your son will be a man of what? Rest. Why?
I will give him rest from all his enemies around about. This name shall be Solomon. I will give peace and quietness to Israel. He shall build a house.
So why is he going to be able to build a house? Why? Well, because his daddy left, but what else? What's going to help him? His relationship is different than his daddy's relationship. His daddy was a warrior, but he was a man of wisdom. And he's going to be a relationship. Now, what the first thing Solomon started doing? We read 1 Timothy 3:1. People that fought that David, First Kings 3:1. Look at 1 Kings 3:1. Yes. Okay, so hold that one for me. I'm going to have you to read it. All right? 1 Kings 3:1. What does that infinity mean? He made, read. Keep reading. So we talk about Solomon marrying people, but he didn't just marry them to marry them. He married them because he needed something from them. He was making relationships. The people that David murdered, Solomon married. And guess what's happening? That wealth that he needs to build, he's getting that out of relationships. See, I want y'all to understand something as young people. One of the most important things that you're going to ever have in your life is relationship. And we don't focus on those today. This church was built out of relationship, not out of money. When you got relationship, you don't need a lot of money. See this church? Y'all see there's over 8,000, it's about 8,500 bricks in this church. About 8,500. Maybe about 10,000. Okay? Should have cost me right around $50,000, $60,000 to get these bricks laid out. Relationship built this. Called Bishop Henry Ross Jr. Building a church, I need your help. I need you to lay the blocks. How much will you lay the blocks for? Oh, Pastor, for you, 80 cents a block. Relationship. I need a roof put on it. How much is it going to charge to put this roof up? Oh, well, first, my friend, last name is Turner. His uncle was a friend of mine, Jack Turner, who was an architect. Rodney Turner, which was his nephew. Him and I had a friendship because I got a friendship from his uncle. Me and Rodney got a friendship. His friendship got these plans built for the church. Less than the average person. The roof got on that with hood, relationships. How many real relationships do you have as young people? Very few. Very few. And how many productive relationships you have? Very few. David was a killer. Solomon built relationships. And a lot of your friends, a lot of your relationships are you have nobody to help you. Some of y'all right now, you talk about the kids. I have to watch my kids by myself. Ain't nobody helping with the kids. Who you got a relationship with? Who you build a relationship with? Most young ladies, they don't have one with their mother, don't have one with their father, don't have one with their siblings, don't have none with nobody. Because the first time you have a conflict, and the first time you have a problem, the first thing you do, you don't want to talk to nobody, don't want to deal with anybody. The normal relationship, there's problems. The normal relationship, there's conflict. That's the norm. That's a part of relationship. There's conflict. David couldn't get what he had done, even though he had all of the supplies and all the material, because now you get to a point you've got to have relationships to build what you need. I've never been without a babysitter. I've never been where I've got down to a point financially that I needed some help that I couldn't get it. From within, from family, because they're relationships. And Vlad will tell you, we've seen some big deals happen, financial deals, by relationships. Call such and such, tell them to do it. Call such and such, tell them to do it. Call that one, tell them to do it. I was called on a call the other day. The dog was in the yard. They finna put this lady trying to take her to jail. I made one call. Relationship. Got the information I needed to solve the problem. One thing I got is friends. I may not have a lot of money, but I got friends. And those friends that I have, they save me money. So Solomon could build a temple. Why? I'll give you an example of that, all right? Go over to 1 Timothy 5:1. Look at 1 King 5:1. So I'm encouraging you to build a relationship with people. 1 King 5:1. David had a relationship with Hiram. Hiram sent a servant to Solomon. He heard that they anointed him king instead of his dad. You know that David, my father, couldn't build a house to the Lord. Hiram, you knew this. You know my daddy couldn't do this. Read. He couldn't do this because he had wars everywhere. Mm-hmm. Yes. Now the Lord giving me rest. I don't have enemies like my daddy had. Read. He's telling him, this is what I need. I'm finna build this temple that the Lord told me. Read. Because now command, all right, read that. Everybody read that together on that verse. Read. Look at him making a deal, making a lead. Say, do me a favor. Get your guys to give me some trees out of Lebanon so we can build this temple. Read. And my servants, relationships, my servants going to be with your servants. Whatever you appoint. So now I'm going to work with you. I'm going to work, your servant's going to work with mine, my servant's going to work with yours. Again, relationship. And this is the key thing, understanding. When you talk about understanding, understanding is not just understanding, but understanding people. You live in a whole world. You're not in this world by yourself. You need to understand the surroundings, people, relationships, communication. Some people don't even have their own communication with their own family, their own wife, their own children. They don't know how to communicate without chaos and frustration. You're going to be successful. You need to know how to communicate. Parents, keep the kids. One thing I think about, I can appreciate my mother. They keep the kids in this little old circle. Ain't nobody but them. They can't connect with their grandmama. They just you and your little kids over there in that little old circle by themselves. And they make your kids, but the kids don't know how to talk to nobody, don't know how to communicate, don't know how to interact. You ain't going to give them no $1 million. You ain't going to give them no business. They're going to have to know how to talk to people, communicate with people. And they're in this little old box. Solomon was able to communicate with a different king and understand. All right, read, Come on.
So thou knowest that there are not among us any that can still use timber.
Listen, because you know that we don't have anybody among us that can do this. What is the first thing that Solomon is recognizing? What do you recognize here? What he don't have. He's recognizing what he doesn't have. And he recognizes what the other person has. And I need a relationship with you because you have what I don't have. You got resources that I don't have. You got things that I don't have. Are y'all with me? Read. Yes. So I'm going to give you everything that you desire. Cedar, fir, whatever you need, I'm going to give it to you. Read. My servant going to bring them down to you from the sea. Come on. Uh-huh. Has money passed the hands of anybody yet? Solomon recognizing what he doesn't have. Aaron recognizing what he don't have. And they're contributing to each other. So build relationships with people that don't have what you have. Build relationship that you can help them and they can help you. So I think, again, one of our major issues that we have is the lack of good, solid relationship. Part of that is what Solomon was talking about. Understanding is not just understanding the Bible, but it's also understanding people. Building relationship with people. Amen. Y'all with me? Let me say this as I'm getting ready to close. How many of you feel like that you are communicators? Right? Okay. Give me a definition of what you think a communicator is. How about communicating with people outside of your circle? How about communicating, when I say communicating people outside of your circle, building relationships and not just communicating. It's good to say, hey, how you doing, and that's okay, but to build relationships that are attached relationships, that are connected relationships. Who still have a friend with you since you're with your friend in childhood? How many friends do you have in school? A lot of friends, or a little bit of friends, a little circle of friends? I mean, you had a lot of circle of friends. Yes, sir, Gerard, you want to say something? Now, how many friends you have that can be productive in your life, that are far in advance above you? And when I talk about that, see, communication can't be just with people in your circle. Who has friends with millionaires? I'm not talking about I know you. Not me. All right. Who have friends with, when I say have friends, I mean have friends with people who are that can bring you up in knowledge, bring you up in education. Because the Bible says make friends with the mammon of this world. And you see, it's difficult to communicate with people outside of your circle, outside of your vocabulary range. Who got friends with people who use words that are bigger than the words that you use, that you don't know what words they're talking about? See, their communication must be above yours. Their living must be above yours. Jesus said, make friends with the mammon of this world. Their communication, their level of, because we got circles that are not big circles. And our circles are small, and our circles are not circles where we're learning. Okay? And then even amongst ourselves in here, how many resources that we have in this room that we haven't communicated that we can bring together to bring something together successful? Now, we're going to be in this Sunday school lesson, we're going to be building by communication and making leads by communication and putting some things on together that I think can really be successful and helpful. We're going to do an event in the gym, a few other things that we're going to be, because I want to work with the other team. I'm telling you that you all together could turn this county upside down with the plan and the resources that you have. I mean, if you really saw what I want to do for you and with you and activate it together. I say this all the time, there's not one church in this community that has the resources that we have in Polk County. Not one. And not especially in the black community. And what the vision is, if you take the vision and utilize that vision, you'll never have to get up and go to anyone else outside of here to be successful. Because you want to bring people here. Really. Basketball, food, entertainment, all those things, the hotel, all those ministries, all those things are here. The resources are here. So we're going outside of just this. Got to get y'all to think about, you know the talent that's in here? The cooking talent? You know the talent that's in here? Yes, Zion? Well, building relationships and then people building you up. See, when you build, you're going from here to here to here. You're building up. Mark introduced me to somebody, his friend, one time. His name is Rich. That was his friend. When he introduced me to his friend, I got connection with his friend. And me and his friend built a relationship. He got in trouble, wanted prayer. Not in trouble. He had some things he wanted prayer. Communicate. I can pick that phone up right now. Call Rich right now. He gonna say, Pastor. He called me Pastor. But that was his friend. He introduced me to him, connected me to him. Me and him kept that bond. Now, when I got ready to get that air conditioner over there and whatever there, I didn't pay the same price everybody else paid for the price. Through him, relationships. I got a plumber. His name Dan. I can call him anytime. Say, Dan, I need something 24 hours a day. If I need him, I can get everybody. Vlad doesn't see the relationship we have with people. Business. Now, we are good, but we never tapped into each other's resources in this room to see what we can have. We haven't tapped into each other's resources. We got physical resources, but we haven't tapped into your resources and put your resources to the table. You got an ingredient, you got an ingredient, you got an ingredient, you got an ingredient. So if we together as a group, and I'm teaching this lesson, if we together as a group, pull something together, all of our cooks, all of our singers, all of our individuals, when we bring together a big event and do something, and do something together, do something collectively. Now, the one of the projects that I'm going to give to you all that you all going to work with me with, and we're going to go and visit it and see it, is a splash park and the park that's in the school. And we'll work together on doing this. Y'all got internet minds. We're going to find out how to lay it out. We're going to put some turf out there, and I'm going to show you that vision. This part of the vision is the YAM vision. That's what we're doing. That's what we'll be working on this part of the vision. Why not bring the kids here? If we bring the kids in from the community to our free splash park and have that turf over there on the grounds, why couldn't Gerard set up, and we got the 10 brothers. We're opening our restaurant over there in the next few months, and everybody's going to help us. This is going to be part of the plan of helping us for that event. I got different groups that I'm giving different responsibilities. But why couldn't we bring all of the community here? Hundreds of kids on the little splash park there. Hundreds of kids in the park. And I'm going to show you what we're talking about. Why we're doing that, if Gina got a lemonade stand or you got this and that, we're bringing all the business here. Now we got to think business mind. Bring all the 100 to 200 kids here. Bring them here. Once they come here, then all of the resources of what they need while they're here, drinks, sodas, food, snacks are here. There is nowhere in Polk County, and when I say black, I'm saying black because black people don't have no central place to gather, no central place to come, that the revenue supports us. There is no black entrepreneurship here in the county that's taking black young people like you all. And now you got more than just the church. Yes, ma'am. You got to go. What? Y'all with me? So let's benefit from this, and I'll write a plan. We'll go over that plan. Any questions for me? Any question for me? And we'll use the resources we have. Any questions? Is there any question online? Got Sylvia, media, Gerard's cooking and singing, all those particular things. Let's use the resources that we have. Building relationships. All right, no question. No one has questions. All right, that's it. Blessings to everybody. God bless you. Next Sunday we'll be together. Now, listen.